Now, there's lots of reasons why we think about watches in this perspective of GRAIL watches, watches that we love, watches that are maybe too expensive, watches that we're working towards. And there are many, many reasons why we should eventually, or even slightly sooner than that, buy our GRAIL watch. But today, I'm going to flip the conversation over, see it from a different side, and I'm going to give you 6 reasons why I don't think you should buy your GRAIL watch. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. And I'm not actually telling you today that you should never buy your GRAIL watch. What I'm actually just trying to do is just open the conversation up a little bit more and start to get you guys thinking, get me thinking as I make this video about why I should possibly not buy it or why I should possibly buy it. Basically, make myself a little bit more aware of why I'm making these decisions, think about the conversation as a sort of bigger picture, and hopefully then if I end up buying my GRAIL watch, well, I've thought about it from every single angle, including why I should not have bought my GRAIL watch, or I shouldn't buy my GRAIL watch, because, well, GRAIL watches tend to be rather expensive. I've only got a certain amount of money to spend on watches, and is it actually a good idea to buy that GRAIL watch? Well, I have just thought of 6 reasons why I don't think you should. And the first reason I think is because I think we get a little bit confused with the idea of what a GRAIL watch is. I think a lot of us, even if we're not specifically trying to think about it this way, we are sort of starting to think about it as a end point, a finish line, something that we are working our way towards long-term, financially, thinking about getting something that is rather special, rather amazing as a sort of big achievement, and it is like our final watch. And although I think we all kind of know it's not, I think it is sitting there in the back of our head of that is the final watch. And if you're working towards something long term, especially for an expensive watch, having that sort of thought in the back of your head could actually be quite a negative, because you may be spending so much time and energy getting to that, spend a large amount of money, and then a relatively short period of time afterwards, even if you love that watch, even if you keep wearing that watch, even if you have it in your watch forever, there's a reasonable chance that another GRAIL watch will suddenly pop up into your head. And having that idea of, oh, this was going to be my last watch to buy, or my final GRAIL watch at least, or my only GRAIL watch, is probably not actually true. Because if you are collecting watches and you love watches, then there's a reasonable chance that even if it is your ultimate GRAIL, once you buy that ultimate GRAIL, you then might have another ultimate GRAIL. Secondly, I think we get this tunnel vision. I think we sort of start to look at watches, think about watches, find the watches that we like, and we pick our GRAIL watch. And then we get stuck on that GRAIL watch. And it's generally something that we don't buy straight away or within a short period of time. It's a journey towards that GRAIL watch. And we start to honing in on that watch so much that we forget about other watches. We forget about new release watches, we forget about older watches that perhaps pop up that we haven't seen before, because we've decided, no, this is my GRAIL watch. And I think that's a problem, because what if that ultimate GRAIL watch that you've decided on actually is worse, or something that you like less than one of these other watches that pops up? And I think that's important, because not that you will stop liking your GRAIL watch, or maybe you will, but it's not that you might stop liking that GRAIL watch. It's just that if that is an ultimate watch and a very expensive watch, you obviously want to buy the best watch that you can find or that you like the most. And what happens if that GRAIL watch that you've now focused on for so many years is not the right watch, because there's another one that you have excluded because of this tunnel vision? And I think that's an issue. And I'm not saying buy another watch on the way to that GRAIL watch. I'm saying that GRAIL watches can change. I know in my own journey of GRAIL watches, I've had quite a few different GRAIL watches over the years, and I'm so glad that a couple of them I don't own, because I know that I just wouldn't have ended up wearing them, or I wouldn't really like them anymore, and I certainly would have sold them. So it was good that I then opened my mind and didn't get so tunnel visioned about this idea of a GRAIL watch, that I allowed myself to find better GRAIL watches and other watches that I wanted to work towards. Number 3 is that you might actually not wear that GRAIL watch if you buy it. There are some watches that I really like, and I call them sort of fantasy GRAIL watches, and that's sort of how I categorize them, because I absolutely love them, but I know if I bought them, if I could afford to buy them, I probably wouldn't end up wearing them. And this might be because they're too expensive and I'd be scared to wear them because there's just so much money on my wrist and I didn't want to damage it. But likely because it's the style of watch is probably something that I wouldn't wear very often, but I still love it and I think it's absolutely amazing. Like some of these high horology kind of watches or these lots of complication type watches, I think they're gorgeous, but I don't think I'd actually wear them. And if I'm gonna have a GRAIL watch, a watch that I'm really working towards and spending a lot of cash on, then it really, for me anyway, needs to be a watch that I actually wear. So why have a GRAIL watch? Why buy a GRAIL watch if I then have a GRAIL watch that I don't wear? Hey, this is one of those quick me jump in, break up the video a little bit to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All you gotta do is click on that. Costs you absolutely nothing, but honestly makes a huge difference to me and this channel. Thank you. Let's get back to the video. The fourth thing I've come up with, and I think it's actually rather relevant to the journey of watches and how we sort of go through different sort of stages of watches, is that I think in the back of our mind, even if we try to reject this idea, I still think it's kind of there. And that is this sort of pyramid of watch brands or quality, this ladder that we work our way up. And we've got in the back of our mind, at least I know I do, even though I try deliberately not to, that I need to sort of work my way up to a sort of GRAIL watch. And a GRAIL watch has to be of a certain sort of well-known sort of heritage brand perhaps, or perhaps a certain quality, or have a certain movement, or have a certain price tag attached to it. And I don't think that's really true. I know different watches at different price points and different brands are different for different reasons, why some might be considered to be better watches, but better doesn't always mean better for me. And the idea of a GRAIL watch having to be really expensive, I think is just sort of ingrained a little bit. And I think that may not be exactly right. So again, coming back to that tunnel vision of thinking that this is what it should be, I need to open my mind up a little bit more to what actually is my GRAIL watch. Perhaps I've chosen the GRAIL watch for the wrong reasons. For the fifth reason, I'm deliberately wearing my Hamilton Jazzmaster GMT because GRAIL watch doesn't always equal favorite watch. This is my favorite watch. I've got a couple of favorite watches now, but this is my sort of original favorite watch and it remains my favorite watch. And it's not a GRAIL watch. It's certainly not priced at a GRAIL watch sort of level, at least what's in my head. And that's why I wear this watch when I am looking at more expensive watches or GRAIL style watches, because knowing that a watch is sort of my GRAIL and I love it, but if I sit there and try it on and I look at it and then I compare it against what I consider my favorite watch, if I then come away from that experience thinking, I like it, but I like this one better, well then, should I spend all that money on a GRAIL watch? Maybe this is my GRAIL watch. And finally, and I think this is actually rather important and probably the most important part about this whole video idea that I've put together, is that I think the journey towards the GRAIL watch is probably as important, but probably even more important than the actual GRAIL watch itself. And this is not always just watch related. I think a lot of things in our life that the journey is more important than the destination. And I think watches, and especially the watch collecting side of things, it is the journey. It is the learning. It is finding different watches, trying different styles of watches, trying different qualities of watches, different movements, all this stuff, this journey of watches in our collection, watch collecting, learning about watches, watching videos like this, being entertained by watches, interacting with people, talking about watches. And that journey actually might be more important than actually buying that GRAIL watch. So it's kind of nice to have the idea of what my GRAIL watch is, but perhaps I might not ever actually buy that GRAIL watch. Or perhaps I probably will, I don't really know, but I think it's quite interesting to think of reasons why I shouldn't buy it, to help me balance out my reasons about why I should buy it, and hopefully if I then end up buying that GRAIL watch, I do it with all the information available to me and my own personal thoughts. Guys, thank you so much. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this idea of should you actually buy it, should you not buy it? Are there reasons to buy it or not to buy it? Have you bought a GRAIL watch and then realized, that was not a good decision? Have you bought a GRAIL watch and gone, yes, perfect, I have achieved something and I'm very, very happy about it? I'd like to hear your experiences and I would like to hear about what your GRAIL watch is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't done so already, maybe think about clicking on one of these next videos so you can watch more of my content.